Hello everyone, and welcome to week 11 of English 120. This week we're going to be talking about creating a research prospectus. So you all chose your research topics last week. Hopefully you feel really good about that, because now we're going to be expanding from that topic. I'm also going to be setting up conferences this week. I'll put a sign-up sheet as a wiki later today, and hopefully you can sign up for a time. You are required to meet with me. You can meet face-to-face or you can meet over the phone, and I'll put the requirements on the sign-up sheet. But we'll spend the time talking about the topic you've chosen and really how you can best move forward in creating your research prospectus. Alright, so your research prospectus. We're going to go over the details of that assignment. You're going to create a research prospectus in MLA format that is at least 2 to 3 pages long, where you answer all of the following questions. Excuse me. What is the working title of your study? You really want to think about what title do you want to use. How did you become interested in your topic? What is the history of your topic? And this history should be at least 1 to 2 paragraphs long. It should really be something where you do some research to understand the history of your topic before you type this up. What 3 research questions will guide your search? And we're going to talk about creating research questions in just a second. What steps have you taken so far to begin your search? And how do you plan to research your topic? How will you look up articles and books? Which ones do you plan to consult? And what other resources do you plan to utilize? For example, do you plan on visiting Jack London State Park and talking with a docent? You want to write down the types of sources you intend to collect: books, journals, articles, the names of some of the sources you've already consulted, and the types of search tools you plan on using. Are you going to be browsing library shelves? Are you going to be consulting librarians? Are you going to be conducting surveys? And what research methods will you use? Are you going to do simple research methods? Are you going to do simple searches or advanced database searches? This will be the due date is incorrect. The due date is next Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. So let's talk about what a research question is. A research question is a brief question that directs your efforts to collect, critically read, evaluate, and take notes on your sources. So what you're going to be doing as you move forward in this research project is you have your topic. Now you're going to do some initial research to understand the history of your topic, and you want to figure out questions you ask as you do more in-depth research that will guide your research. If you have good research questions, they're going to help you focus on a specific issue that you can write an 8 to 10 page paper about. They're going to help you reflect on your writing situation. They're going to be narrow, and they're going to begin with the word what, where, when, where, what, why, when, where, who, or how. So you want to generate some potential research questions before you draft your final research questions. Your questions can focus on information. They can focus on history, assumptions, goals, outcomes, and policies. Each question is going to lead you to a different thinking process. So, for example, a definition-based question is going to help you describe aspects of an issue. So maybe if you're writing about the history of strikes and unions, your definition question will help you define what are unions and strikes, and how have they evolved since the early 1900s. If you look on page 42, you can see a list in the Bedford Researcher. You can see a list of all of these different types of questions that you can ask. There's also some really great information in Chapter 3 about how to draft your research questions. You'll see on page 44 and 45, there's a filled out version of this form here. And what it is it's sample questions that you can ask. So for example, if you look under history and evaluation, the question is, which strategies have been most effective at increasing use of wind power? So if you wanted to put this in the topics that we're talking about, you could change this to, which strategies have been most effective at increasing use of sustainable farming since the early 1900s, right? Do you see what I'm doing? Go through this list on pages 44 and 45 and try out putting your topic into these different types of questions. And from this work that you do, you're going to find 3 questions that really help you focus on what aspect of this topic you want to write about. When you craft your research question, after you've reviewed all your potential research questions, and really ask yourself what type of questions you want to focus on, then you want to choose the research questions that seem the most likely to help you achieve your purpose as a writer. What is your purpose in writing this essay? And then you want to refine your research questions. What should be done? So here's an example. What should be done about steroid use by adolescent girls involved in competitive sports? If you refine that, right, you bring in, even though we know that widespread drug testing of all athletes, younger and older, is impossible, what should be done about steroid use by adolescent girls involved in competitive sports? By adding in conditional words such as even though, you set up your research question as something that is deeper and wider and easier for you to support with research. Your research questions should be narrowed, and it shouldn't have any vague words in it or phrases. You always want to use specific language, and you want to use specific terms. You want to conduct preliminary searches. This will help you when you do your preliminary searches in our library databases. This just goes over the process that I went over in the research assignment. It would help if you would start with creating your research questions first, and doing the research about your topic. The general research. If you have questions, most of you did this last week. You looked into the research databases. You did initial research so that you know the basics about your topic. Now you want to use this week as a way to focus in on exactly what about this topic you want to write a research paper on. Okay? And if you are confused at this point, it's a great time to meet with me. And the good news is we're going to have conferences this week. This week for your active reading journal, you're going to read pages 61 through 65. Then you're going to answer the question. This is in the Bedford Researcher. You're going to answer the questions in the green box at the top of the page on page 65. This is just what you'll be doing as a way to think through your research project, right? You're creating this research proposal, right? And now you're going to figure out what the guiding principle of your research is going to be. So if you look at the top of page 65, it's going to ask you to write your current research question. So you're going to choose one of the 3 that you put forward in your research prospectus, and you're going to brainstorm or free write in response to your research question. And you're going to select the response that best reflects your current understanding of the conversation you've decided to join. Remember, the research that you're doing, by doing research about a topic, you're joining a conversation with all of the other people who've done research about this topic. Then you're going to use this information to help you develop a position statement. So the thesis, basically, the rough draft of the thesis that you're going to be developing for your research paper. For your conversation this week, you're going to be writing more questions. These are just 10 questions. There's a lot of very important things that happen in the first 5 chapters of The Valley of the Moon in Book 2. What I'd like you to do is develop 2 research questions for each, not research questions, just critical questions For each of the chapters that you read, for a total of 10 questions, you're going to be graded on how well you develop critical questions about the text. So really put some thought into what you're asking. Don't just say, who's Billy, right? You really want to think about the context of the chapter. When you meet Mercedes, who's one of the new characters you're going to be meeting in these chapters, what significance does she have as a character, and why does Saxon meet her, and what does Saxon learn from her, right? So really thinking through all of these points in the book. Then you're going to answer the questions of 3 of your peers using evidence from the text to support what you're saying. You must post your initial post by Saturday for full credit. For comp class this week, we're going to be completing Respect Academic Ethics. And next week, we will be beginning our work on our annotated bibliography, but we'll continue to read in Valley of the Moon. We'll read chapters 6, 7, 8, and 9, and you will be doing comp class Avoid Plagiarism. So I know this is a lot, moving towards the research prospectus. If you have questions about it, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can call me on the phone during my office hours. You can send me an email, and I will be setting up the wiki for you to sign up for a one-on-one conference with me, which I think will really help you as you move forward in your research project. All right, see you guys online.